sure to be useful. Looks like some solid wood scrap there. Says everything's changing in these dark coming days. Nothing stays the same. Not even houses. Have you heard of Chubza? Such a wild wanderer. Even his hut moves. But he'd have a lot to talk about with a roamer like you. Says they've seen him in many different places. Impossible to tell. Says Chubza isn't the sort to wait in one place for you. They might be looking for you too. You just got to watch for Chubza and his mobile hut. Asks you to tell him they say hi. Where are the control sticks on this thing? You found BOULDERBROKE. Toxanol used this place to make big rocks into small ones. They just ground everything down. That's an Aurora totem. Legend has it that activating the four of them together will form a band of your aura in the sky. Nothing's more important right now than this. Yes, some e-waste for you. Glad to see some wood scrap there. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots. He promises he'll be there for you. Just come talk to him beneath the tree if you're feeling lost. Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. If you continue to do good, good will follow you. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst. Something he calls the Ark. He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive. Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as key energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real. He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark, in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy. He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast. Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Goop. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Goop and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The Porkypuff needs to be handled. Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He wonders what's on your mind. Has plenty to do, so no worries. I don't think you could make a home here. Sometimes what you'll see doesn't feel real until it brings you back to that particular moment, like stepping into a time machine. It's hard to shake these memories and their accompanying feelings. Our brains play tricks on us, so it will take effort to avoid them. However, there's no doubt that what you remember makes your future different. You weren't supposed to know how to start the automaton pew-pew pang, but clearly you figured that out way back then. Best part of this ride is it runs on green stuff. Aha! You found TORNDOWN. Used to reach into the sky, but it's not so proud anymore. Night falls like a giant around here. That's a massive ping dish. They used to be able to find things. You could have missed this village. It's called MAMBLEKLUMP. This corner of the world is called Anywhere, which is maybe why Click calls it home. Control your destiny, or someone else will. That there's Subnautica Station. Goop flounders around in there. Let's see.
Yangu, ajitawa kiting.
Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again. He understands you've returned to face Lupa Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He thinks that's the right thing to do. It's only when you have forgiven that you'll find peace.
The light shines on!
Better isn't the word I would use.
Right, not better. Best!
You're the worst.
The worst of being the worst! We're just the best!
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Hit the open surf then. The trouble is you can only rely on yourself, at least until you reach a new shore and make new friends. Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Thanks you for doing everything you could to de-goop the surf. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Claims he didn't say that out loud. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. He can't leave the Subnautica station as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. It's not that it won't keep your head above the surface, but it needs improving to carry you across the thick goo out by the Porky Puff. There's so much more to see now. Down below the dirt. Just a few moves left. Make them count. In the face. Power's up. Becoming terminal. Tapped hard. Yuck! Biohazard. Sickening. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Whatever you do it right, or don't do it at all.
Mukan. Saluja. Azitawa. Nuza.
He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There's debris floating around on the surf that might be blocking your path or needs to be towed.
Goop
says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks. Squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the SURFIPELAGO and knows where the quacks like to This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He only knows what's visible to the naked eye. Gulp is not much of a babbler and mostly keeps to himself and his drink. Welcome to the SURFIPELAGO, where the horizon rests on the surfy goo. You're poking around Pokbur, a prime village. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least.
Ja.
Let's see. It's so tempting to just sit and relax. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Guesses he does, but it's a long life in a wild world. Sometimes he's shaken, not stirred. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, but that's nowhere near as quick and easy. Who wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit? Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportional to the quantity of syrup he swigs. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world... It makes most dumber, but that's his special burden to bear. He wants you to know he has other interests too. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Nothing better than a day on surf. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. All good things end. Definitely not open. The story will go on as long as there is someone there to listen. Disgusting biohazard. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. Now that's what I call a blade. Locked solid. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Open it up and see what it's got. Battle of the Goo. Metal Ride. That's enough quacks to sustain the Goo Glide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out of Date's leg. After that, Out of Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Goo Glide. He seems happy to talk. Didn't have